What up, Kim folks? It's Mike D. What's good? Welcome to Blazi Blah Podcast, where we connect, build, and break bread with our Kim folks. And guess who's in the motherfucking house? Let's go! Actually, online, not in the house. But I got folks online. These are the club, FilExcellence Club, Clubhouse. And so, yeah, I was able to get in the club, get in the app, and I was able to meet some cool motherfucking folks and took me in as family. So I wanted to actually, allow them to be a part of the podcast and just have a conversation. And so, how y'all feeling?
Good.
Fabulous.
Okay. So, are y'all ready? Let's get this started.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first question usually is, what is your migration story? Maybe we can start with Argentina.
Oh, my migration story.
Yeah, how did you get to Canada? How did your family get to Canada?
So most of my mom's side of the family are in Canada, but I was born and raised in the Philippines. I think everyone knows that. And then my son is laughing in the back. So I went to school in the Philippines, and then I wanted to travel after university, so I became a flight attendant. And
Okay.
so 9/11 happened. And my parents got really paranoid about the whole thing, and they panicked. And it's the same for me. It wasn't enjoyable anymore because everyone seemed really paranoid by the whole thing. So they asked me to try Canada to see if I'm gonna like it. And so I visited, and then I felt really at home. Canada really felt home for me. The people were so nice, and the rest was history.
Okay.
That's my immigration story.
That's dope. Thanks for sharing. How about you, Gian? Migration story.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in the Philippines. I left in when I was 10. So my mom is actually a seismologist. So she does I don't know what she does. She does earthquake research and all that cool stuff. So we traveled. So she got a job in Japan after that. So I lived in Japan for 2 years, and then she still needed to continue her studies. And so she sent me to go live with my tita here in Raleigh,
Okay.
North Carolina, or not in Raleigh, but in North Carolina. So that's why I moved to the US. That's the migration story, really. And then my mom followed a couple of years later. And then she's also moved all over, and now she's in Denver. But I kind of stayed in the US. And then when my senior year of high school, we moved to Portugal. And then I lived there for a year, and then I got into the university here in North Carolina. There's a lot of moving there, but all in all, that was the story.
Okay. There's a lot of Filipino in North Carolina?
There's a few. It's not that many, but I know most of them.
You know all of them.
I know all of them.
How about you, Francis? What is your migration story?
I went here to New York 3 years ago to be an actor, but because I'm not a quote unquote extraordinary ability, and then that's an artist visa. So the most logical thing for me to do is go to the academia route. So I went to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy here in New York City, and to study musical theater, because it's a 3-in-1. I want to be a performer. I want to be an actor primarily. So for musical theater, we sing, we dance, and act. But the reason why that led me to moving here is because back in 2016, there's this talent convention happening in LA at the Hollywood Roosevelt. And then I keep on coming back and forth for that entire span of 2-3 years. for me to pursue acting here in America, but it's not really feasible. It's not logical. I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting my energy for these auditions because they are not even considering me because I don't live here, basically. So I was in law school at that time. I was finishing law school. And then as I was about to take my bar exams, I said, no, I'm not going to be taking my bar exams. So that's where I said, okay, I want to be an actor. If I this is what I really want to do, the most logical for me and feasible thing for me to do is take the academia route. So I studied again, take the 2-year conservatory program nonstop for 16 months. So, and I've been hitting the pavement ever since. I've been acting, I've done some number of projects. Just the other day, I was in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. And
Okay.
earlier this week, I was in Succession. So it's great. It's great. Even though 2020 is a tough thing, the silver lining is that compared to a lot of people in the industry, I am still employed. I'm a creative director on a startup production company for new media, which is the Amazon Studios platform called Amazon Live. So that is my migration story
Okay.
in a nutshell.
Okay, so if I need tickets in New York, I can call you?
If I get on Broadway. Eh. The first show
Okay.
you should be watching is my show where I'm playing the lead.
Okay. We're rooting for you. We're
That's
rooting
wrong
for you.
answer. You should have said sure as long as you call me daddy.
Oh, I'm never gonna be a daddy as long as I'm gonna be your baby.
Okay, let's go. How about you, Monica? What is your migration story?
Well, I was born here in America,
Okay.
in Boston, but my parents, they both went to med school in the Philippines. They went to Manila Central University, and then they came to California for their boards to practice here. My mom had her fellowship in Boston. I don't really know what their full they don't really talk about how they met in the Philippines and then how they ended up in America together.
Okay.
I always have to pry that information out of them. But as soon as my mom was done with her fellowship in Boston, my dad, I think he had his fellowship in Michigan, in Grand Rapids. So when I was 5, we moved to Grand Rapids, and I grew up in Michigan, went to college in Michigan, and I bopped around to Chicago for a couple of years, and then the pandemic happened, and now I'm back home.
Okay. Well,
Short and sweet.
I got a homework for you. You gotta dig that story from your mom and dad.
I
That'll be dope.
will.
How about you, Mike? What's your migration story, Mike?
Yeah, Michael. My migration story. So I grew up in the Philippines as well, similar to Argentina. So I'm a first generation immigrant. I went to school in Manila up to college. I finished college over there. And then I started working in IT. I worked for a company called Anderson Consulting. So, essentially I moved to the US through a work visa, through the IT path. So it was in 2003 when I moved here permanently. But I just want to share that my first time in the US actually was 2 years earlier in 2001. And it was in the middle of winter. So I was sent to Chicago to attend training. So it was just a big culture shock for me. So I was like maybe your FOB, so to speak, if that's a term that we're still, I know it has a negative connotation, but essentially, shifting from kind of the 90-degree weather that we're familiar with in the US, and
Right.
then all of a sudden it's negative in Chicago. I was literally freezing my butt, because it was cold. And then, the other piece was on the way, on the last day of our training, just before we were sent back to the Philippines to go back home. That was my first time going to the Walmart. So my friends and I used to call it the Walmart. So it was just imagine a 20-year-old guy, first time traveling to the US and just being amazed by, how big it was. So it was a crazy experience. But ever since, so 2003 was when I moved here permanently. I
Okay.
lived in California, New Jersey, and now I'm in North Carolina. So I'm Gian's neighbor. So after the pandemic, we should do a
Hang
get-together
on,
for
let's
you.
go. In terms, instead of FOB or FOB, let's say newly immigrant.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Thanks.
So let's be, because we all are immigrants, right? Some are just older and some are newer, right? So what? Yeah.
I
So
like that.
again, introduction. This is my family online with the Clubhouse app, and so it's been a cool experience. I'm new to the Clubhouse, and these folks like really took me in as family, and so I just want to show them love. I want to give them the flowers, you know what I mean? So yeah, thank you all for bringing me in. So, but I'm curious for the folks that don't know what the Clubhouse app is. What is Clubhouse? Who wants to talk or who wants to speak on it?
Christian has to go too, right?
Wait, I haven't heard Christian. So
Christian.
Oh, where's Christian? Oh, sorry.
you have to
Yes,
change
sir.
your view mic to gallery so you can see everybody.
Okay. That's my bad. Christian, let's go.
All good. I was also gonna say I love that piece that you have right behind you. That,
Oh.
I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to buy that from you one day. That's awesome.
NFT that, Christian. NFT.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna say NFT that thing.
I'll do a 2-in-1 since you asked the other question already. Migration story,
Yeah.
really quickly though. I moved here when I was 5 years old, so we're in Toronto in Canada, and my parents are still engineers and science on the science side. My mom's a chemist doing research in the Philippines, and one of the things I always took from that was just the sacrifice that all immigrants make.
Yes.
Whether it was you or your parents, I'll never understand. I try to ask my dad this story all the time, and I've probably heard it a million times at this point. I was like, how did you decide? And they had 30 days actually. This is an interesting part. So from the point where they applied and the Philippine embassy said, okay, you got approved, you got to move in 30 days. So they sold everything and put everything into suitcases and then came to Toronto where we had family. So we had a support system here, but yeah, just that immigration story. I think it's similar for a lot of people, but I remember back home having a really good life, and having kind of middle upper class, if you will, and then getting to Toronto. And I remember as a kid, like me and my siblings and my parents, we all slept in the same bed. So it's I'll never understand that sacrifice that my parents made.
Yeah.
What was the question on Clubhouse again? Can you say it
Oh,
again?
yeah. What is Clubhouse? So for the folks that might not know or might not be familiar with the app, what is Clubhouse? And yeah.
Yeah, so Clubhouse is this audio only, invite only, actually, still to this point, app that is also only available on iOS. So you got to have an iPhone to be using it. But it started out as and it still is an invite only, but you can create your own rooms and meet people, and the whole concept of it is to create a club. So this club, Filipino Excellence, started just because people wanted to get to know their fellow Filipinos, Filipinx community online, and look how great it's been since, right? So this is one of my favorite places. Anytime I'm on Clubhouse, I'm in this club, and it's great to meet people and great to see faces, as opposed to just your icons in the app.
Right? I know I've been spending too much time on this app. I'm like, I should get paid for this. It's like 8 hours a day. Let's go. So who started FilExcellence Club? Who started FilExcellence Club?
It's Argentina.
Okay,
I
Argentina.
remember
How?
the early days. Yeah, I remember the early days. It was Argentina, and she's been approaching a number of people, including me, who can co-moderate with her. So since you asked, I think Argentina should be the best person to tell the conception of Argentina.
Okay, Argentina. What is FilExcellence to you? How did you create it, and why did you create it?
I think it really, the creation of FilExcellence Club wasn't really something that I was thinking of doing. My whole story with Clubhouse was I got invited by one of my clients. So I have a lot of clients in the real estate space, and I provide marketing services. And there was a big online convention outside of Clubhouse, and they wanted to extend it inside the app. And I had no idea what the app was about. So I said, I don't know what Clubhouse is. And they said, I'm going to send you an invite because we need you to be part of the panel to speak about marketing. I said, okay, sure. So when I was talking during that convention in that panel, there are some Filipinos in that room. And they sent me a DM and said, are you Filipino? And I said, yes, I am. And then they're like, and that's how we got connected. And with Clubhouse, your experience is curated by the people that you follow, right? And then so we followed each other, and then all of a sudden I'm like seeing other Filipino rooms. And I think one of the rooms that I entered in was Bahay Kubo. And they were talking about, I think it was Tagalog Thursday or something like that, right? And then I'm like, this is so cool. Like, there's actually a lot of Filipinos, and something about it kind of like there was a spark. I don't know I was talking to a few of you about this, and I didn't intend on creating a Filipino club or anything like that. And backtrack a few years, like 10, 15 years ago, I actually started an organization here in Canada called Filipino Canadian Professional Network. And the whole idea of that group was to elevate the Filipino community, offering mentorship, highlighting people's stories, and that kind of thing. And it's still ongoing, but it's not as active as I wanted it to be. And so when I was in Clubhouse, I'm like, this is amazing. So that means I can continue the work that I wanted to do from the very beginning, but without needing to get out of my house and change out of my pajamas. and I thought that was like, this is really fabulous. And I knew that there was, same as me, there was a hunger for it, for a lot of people, really trying to reconnect with their roots, but at the same time, trying to connect with people that get it. Like we Filipinos are great in terms of being able to assimilate their surroundings, but there's still that part of you that's like that Filipino-ness. I don't know if you can relate to that. There's that part of you that still want to reach to people that share similar experiences, or that just share that passion. Like, it's so funny how a lot of Filipinos are great at assimilation, but there's that piece, I don't know, that patriotic part of you that still wants to, I still want to promote my Filipino part of me. So I don't know if anyone can really, and I felt like a lot of people can resonate with that, and that's how the whole Filipino Excellence Club came into place.
No, that's dope. I think one of the things that drew me into the FilExcellence Club was the topic that you guys were talking about, right? And I want to be able to share my opinion and provide also insights and all these things. So I really appreciate it. Anyone else want to add on to Argentina?
Yeah, I remember when Argentina was starting it almost a couple of months ago, or at least a month ago. I remember Argentina was messaging me, and there was this big drama on Clubhouse. Okay, Francis. No, it's real. This was before what's currently happening with the AAPI community. But somehow, what's funny was it kind of foreshadowed how everything has happened.
Right.
But what's interesting as well at that time, because Argentina and I have just met in different rooms in Clubhouse, and then because she's amazing, we've been following each other, we've been messaging each other. I was like, okay. And then whenever she starts the room, she would ping me in. And because I am also a first generation, I would like to call myself as a modern day immigrant, because out of everyone here, I'm the most latest person who moved to America. So of course, I resonated with the fact that I don't have any relatives here in New York. Most of my closest relatives are in the other side of the world, or other side of the country. So having Clubhouse in my life is insane. And then I've been just jumping around as well. I got into Clubhouse because of my teacher who organized a workshop who currently plays Harry Potter on Broadway, James Snyder, because he and his wife is like doing the social media marketing for actors and all that. So I got in, and then ever since I've been just like jumping around, ended up in voiceover rooms, industry rooms. Then I met Argentina, and then if you guys know me, I would just like talk and I would just like say whatever's on my mind. And then Argentina has been pinging me every time, and then when I go to the room, she always puts me as a co-mod so that we just like talk and things. So going back to that trauma, after that we started. It became organic, like how we all fell into place as how everything, because Argentina would just like randomly open this room, and he would create multiple back chats in Instagram because there's no core group at that time. At that first time, where we don't have a club yet at that time, so we were just randomly messaging each other, knowing everyone, and then until the club actually happened. So it was really amazing.
That's
So
dope.
that's how I got involved. Yeah.
Yeah, so FilExcellence Club is one of the club in Clubhouse app. If you guys have iPhone, it's only iPhone, so it's invite only. And so make sure you check out the FilExcellence Club. What are the statistics right now? How many followers in the club right now? How many clubs or how many rooms y'all create?
I think we have about 900 members.
Okay, flex it, flex it, flex it.
And about 100 followers. So in all, probably like close to 1,000 people.
That's what's
Are
up.
part of the club, and that's like, and to think that how long ago has it been since we established the club? Like 2 weeks.
Yeah. That was just 2 weeks ago?
3 weeks now.
Oh, wow.
Exact number is 847 members
Okay.
and 94 followers, and we're still approving people to be part of the club. So yeah.
Okay. So again, check out FilExcellence Club. If you have Clubhouse app, make sure to follow. So yeah. I mean, for me, I only been in the app for 2 weeks, and a friend of mine, well, there's a lot of friends that was like inviting me, like, yo, you should check out this Clubhouse app. You have a podcast. It's actually like best way to engage with people. So I'm like, okay, let me try. And then one of my friends invited me. Her name was Alexa. Shout out to Alexa. Hurrah! And so when I got in, the first person that followed me was Monica Uello. So I was like, oh, dope. Monica followed me. And so that moment when I came in and she followed me, she was in that room and they were talking about like social media influencers. And that first day that I got in, and I raised my hand, I had a question.
When we invited the Filipino influencers.
Yeah, that was my first time.
That was, so when you came up, my friend Dennis, who invited me to Clubhouse, he was freaking out because he loves you. Like, he's followed you for 2 years.
Oh.
He was like, that's Michael. He owns this Ugat clothing company. And then that's when I shared to the back room, I was like, Argentina, this is Michael. He owns this clothing store. And Dennis was freaking out. Like, he was texting me. He was like, this dude is so cool. I love his
That's dope. Yeah, that was like my first room ever. And because I think my question, I had to ask a question because, I'm a community organizer. And at the time, Angelo Quinto was happening. And so it was a must that I had a question or posed a question in terms of as social media influencers, what are you guys doing in terms of, doing or creating awareness in regards to social issues? That was my first time. My first day, like the first hour, and then Argentina was like, you're staying on stage.
Already shading people.
I was like, wow, this is such a deep question.
Michael coming in hard, like as always. It was like, I thought I always come hard, and then Michael was like, first hour, first day, this is my question.
So yeah, that was my
interesting too, because my question before Michael asked that was that how do you use your platform to promote the culture?
Right.
That was, and then he hit him hard with the Angelo Quinto. I'm like, well, okay.
So
yeah, I remember that day because it was like randomly, like we're just like trying to explore on what avenues we're gonna be able to talk about. And then he after a number of people, oh, okay, we're being people in the service because it's so early on in
Yeah.
this entire room, and then once we get to Mike, I was like, no, this is where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go all in.
My bad, my bad. But
No,
moving
but
on
it
to
was
the
good,
next
though.
question.
It was good because we needed that smack.
For sure,
kind
for
of.
sure. Okay, I don't want to be the one bringing the smack.
No, but it's good because it kind of like put things into perspective, right? Like, okay, so this is surface level.
That's what's
But
up.
how, like,
Exactly.
and what? Okay, so it's great that you're saying this, and then what? Like, what is the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, the next question in regards to the app, what has been the funniest, craziest, cringe moments you all have at Clubhouse? So, yeah, I'll give you all time to think about it. I'm going to share mine real quick, right? So, I think it's one of our rooms, and somebody said, the Spain gave us shirts and pants. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, no, bro, no. So he basically mentioned, yeah, Spain gave us shirts and pants. So I was like, okay, that was my cringe moment.
That was very recent. That was very recent.
Right? So, yeah, yeah. So, all right, let's start with Christian. Christian, what's the funniest, cringe, or crazy moments in Clubhouse?
Nothing close to that. I think people do still forget how to mute themselves. So I've seen a lot of unfortunate moments of people having conversations or like talking about the speaker that's speaking, thinking that they're muted, but they're not muted.
Really?
And it's really, and some really large rooms too. Like I like the tech rooms in Clubhouse are huge. You get like 400 or 500 people in there, and someone's talking and voicing their opinion about. I'm not about to out anybody on here right now, though, but it was. I felt for them. I felt for them.
They were
I was
talking
trying to
shit.
find, like, Instagram just like, stop talking, please mute yourself. You may just like blacklist yourself from this community going forward.
How about you, Mike?
No, it was interesting because I was guilty of that, and it wasn't on purpose. So, no. Let me tell you what happened. So I think I was in one of the rooms, and I have my, my phone and the earphones, right? And then I went to the bathroom and I started brushing my teeth, and it was on mute. But then for some reason, something happened that.
Like toothbrush, you have to add that in the story.
It's the toothbrush, and then like it's an audio app, so it sounds like something else.
It
And
sounds like a vibrator, basically.
exactly. I'm just so glad that I was brushing my teeth and I wasn't doing anything else.
Okay.
So that was my story.
Okay, okay.
I
GN?
remember I'm like, Mike?
Yeah, something happened. Like the earphone just press it or
And
something.
I
I
had
don't
to
know.
mute you so quickly, and then you unmute yourself. It's like, sorry guys, I'm brushing my teeth.
That's the Clubhouse app right there. How about you, GN? Funny stories.
I don't know. I don't think I've been on the app long enough. But I just like there was a room one time, one of the first rooms. It was one of the biggest rooms I've seen. There were like 1,000 people in there, and it was everybody trying to get in their shower all at the same time. It was like the Guinness Book of Records shower together type thing. So they all ping people and they all time it, and they all get in the shower all at the same time while on Clubhouse. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Okay.
I'm telling you, you could find everything on Clubhouse. But yeah, they were trying to break a Guinness record. And everyone's like, are you in the shower yet? Like you could hear the water running, like, I'm here now. Okay, let's go. Let's get it.
All right, we're gonna have to think of our own record.
Yeah.
How about you, Monica?
I
Funny,
cannot
crazy
top
stories?
any of those. I do have to say though, like every time I do go to the bathroom, I'm like triple checking to see if my mic is muted. Like honestly, I can't like, I don't know, fart or something and my mic is on. But I don't have anything except for maybe some trolls when the room isn't moderated well, like the troll will come up on stage and just be like making noises. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes people take over rooms. It's crazy. Yeah. How about you, Francis? What's the funniest, craziest, cringe, memorable moments?
I stumbled upon a room wherein someone was actually having a labor. And
What?
all of the moms were on stage.
Wait.
Oh,
Hold
it
on.
is real.
You said
I was
labor?
gonna share that. I was gonna
Labor,
share-
Like giving
birth.
a baby, right?
No, actually, like giving birth. Like
Giving
in the
birth.
Like actually giving birth. And then someone
thing.
someone was like, okay, all right, let's all of the moms in the stage right now, right? Let's channel the energy and have a safe delivery. And then the husband, and then the one giving birth was on Clubhouse. I was like, okay, why would you air this? And there's a guy named OB-GYN right there. It's like, who's that? Was like, what? Like all her like questions, like, huh?
Oh God.
I mean, I'm up for like support for women and the camaraderie. I love it, but this is not the right place for you to air this out. I was like, I know there are people who actually have recorded their giving birth,
Right.
but on audio, and then it's like, and then everyone was like cheering. Was like, no, yes, one more push, and I was like, no, fuck in here.
That's
I
funny.
don't know if you caught that same time there was a doula that went up stage.
No, I know. I heard it. The
Then
doula
she
is
was like straight them and said, "This is actually really embarrassing. This should be a special moment for you and your husband, and you sharing it to thousands of people just so you can get following is extremely embarrassing."
those are yeah. I mean, apart from that, what I hate are like people getting clout, and that's another story. There is another big thing, to be honest, and he was supposed to be suspended or got kicked off the platform, but apparently right now he's still organizing rooms, and sometimes he would title the rooms like, where are my followers at? Where's everyone on Clubhouse at? Why is no one going into my rooms anymore? I was like, are you kidding me?
That's funny. How about you, Argentina? What's it? Because you mod all the rooms, you've probably seen a lot. So
Gosh, I don't even know where to begin. But the funniest, craziest one, well, I wouldn't say craziest, but the funniest one that happened was so we hosted karaoke night in FilExcellence. And I don't know if you guys remember, it was me and J Ray that was moderating. And you know, when J Ray pops in, craziness is about to happen. So we were moderating karaoke night, and then there's a Filipino guy that was just pure rock and roll. Like he really thinks like he's the jam, like he is the jam, right? And so we thought, because in his bio he put in there that he's an award-winning, blah 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 blah. So we're like, oh my god, I can't wait to hear this, right? And the funny thing is, during that time too, we have other people that are in the music industry in the room. So they're like Grammy Award-winning artists that are not part of the Filipino club, but they're there just to support, right? So we were all like anticipating this big performance by this award-winning guy, and we were all like, this is gonna be good. After the performance, it was so bad, like really, really bad, right? So me and Jay Ray in the back chat were like, WTF, what was that? Right? And we didn't know what to say after, right? So we were both, and then I was messaging her, I'm not saying anything, you say something. and then, so Jay Ray actually said, bro, are you open for some feedback
or criticism?
and then this guy is like, yeah man, for sure. You know, I always love hearing people what they think, and he's just like so cool, right? And then Jerry goes, I don't know if it's the app, but that didn't sound good.
Must be the app.
So anyways, in the meantime, I'm like, and so I was cracking up because I couldn't speak because J-Ray was just like giving it to this guy. And then another guy was messaging me who was also in the room. And then I messaged him like, And then J. Ray passed it to the Grammy Award winning producer, and he's like, "What do you think, man? What do you think of his performance?" Right? And this guy was put on the spot, and then he was like still trying to be nice, giving him like proper feedback. And then so I messaged the friend of that guy. I said, "Oh my gosh, how nice of him to still give feedback, even though that performance was crap." That's what he said. And I didn't know that the guy that I was messaging is friends with the guy that just performed.
Oh no. Oh.
So he messaged me back and he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. It was so great."
Oh wow. I don't know what you're talking about.
So I messaged J. Ray. I'm like, "Oh crap, J. Ray, look what happened." J. Ray was like, and J. Ray couldn't talk after when he saw the message. He couldn't breathe. He's like, "I don't know what to say to you." I'm like, "I don't know what to say either." So the whole time we were just like laughing in the back chat, and we didn't know what to say, and we just like told people, just sing, everyone."
Group karaoke.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my
It was
God.
really funny.
So yeah, that's really Clubhouse has been really fun and crazy and educational, and there's different moments, and whatever you're interested in, there's rooms for it. You could create rooms for yourself. But I think there's this trend, like what everyone has been saying in regards to, why it has been like really impactful, because it's COVID-19, shelter in place, quarantine. We're like longing to just engage and socialize with people. And so this app has kind of provided that space. And I think, again, FilExcellence Club has provided that safe space. I think everyone is like trending saying that also, right? It's a safe space, how Argentina is like really bringing people together. So this is roses for Argentina. So yeah, I appreciate you and appreciate the whole group, again, able to like really take me in. And so yeah, and I can say the things that I can say, and I'm comfortable, and I appreciate having a safe space that I can be myself. So I really appreciate that about the club. And so yeah. But in terms
I
of,
want to comment on that.
go ahead.
Because I shared this with you, and I'm going to share it with everyone. I always say that when Michael comes on and starts talking, I have mixed feelings when he's about to talk. Like, part of me is excited to hear what he's going to say, and part of me is nervous about what he's going to say. I feel like every time that he talks, there's like a political aspect to it, and there's like a part of it that I'm going to put someone on their place.
My bad. Well, in terms of, again, my background is I'm an organizer. I'm a cultural worker, in regards to our culture, our history. So, I definitely want to be able to like provide insight, and also if someone say anything that's incorrect, I want to be able to like not necessarily put them in place, but like call them in, right? Like, yeah, it's I don't want to call anyone out in a sense, but we want to build relationship with people so we can actually we can correct each other, and so we feel safe in a sense. And so yeah, if I ever say anything wrong, y'all would just tell me, like message me.
Because it actually, if anything, it also before, when I joined the app, I just say what I wanted to say. This is what I mean about me not wanting to take on that spot, because it feels like I have to double, triple check what I'm about to say, because people sometimes would take it as gospel,
Right.
Whereas before I can just say, well, this is what I think, and not really think about it, whether people are gonna like, fact check me or come back to me or whatever, right?
Okay.
It's more of, this is just my thoughts and opinion. But now I feel like, people are always looking at, what is she gonna say? Let's see how we can correct what she's gonna say. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like,
That's dope. That's dope. So in regards to the
Michael, though.
Go ahead, Gia.
Oh, sorry. That's what I like about Michael. Like, whenever some people talk, I feel like just to talk without saying much, or without, like, what they're saying. I hate what they're saying when they talk. With Michael, it's like when he's gonna talk, you're gonna learn something for sure every single time. Unlike some people, it's like some people like to talk to just hear themselves, but with Michael, he's always there to share knowledge and clarify things. So I appreciate that.
This is roses for you, Michael.
Okay.
I wanted to add something too. I always imagine Michael. So let's say somebody's talking, and then somebody's talking, da 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 da. there's racism. I imagine Michael like rolling his sleeves and like, hold my drink, clear out everybody.
No, like hinahasa yung balisong. Tatating his balisong.
I'm about to go in.
I do like
Actually,
that.
I want to know about that. Like what you said, community organizer, maybe partially activist, maybe activist. Like I like, let me hear about that, because like everyone's just giving you flowers and everyone's talking about how you come with the fire all the time when you get into a clubhouse room. But like, where did that come from?
Well, I think I've shared with folks. It's a learning process. You learn something and it grows and it develops. I was once backward, and like took in what society has taught me. I was somewhat prejudiced, misogynistic, and all the other things that's bad that society has kind of taught me. But in terms of like learning and growing, I was able to like come into new information, right? And then learn and grow and develop. And you struggle through. Learning is the hardest thing, bro. And so I don't know if I'll share the story with y'all. This is how bad I was. And so I used to drive around in my car and collect coins, right? And I would grab a handful when there's people out on the streets, like, So I would pull up close, and then they would come in with their hands open to receive what I'm about to give them. So then I would just reach out with my fistful of coins, but instead of giving it to them, I would drop that shit on the floor. So right. So that's how bad I was, and so I wasn't always been like this. So it's a process of like learning and understanding, and then you grow and develop. So wherever you at right now, you're always develop and grow. And so yeah, like it's definitely been a struggle on learning how bad I was and things like that. So, and now, I want to be the best that I can be in regards to be able to serve our community and our people. And so, yeah.
One thing that I do appreciate with you, Michael, is that you understood where you were, and you're not ashamed to say, I was really terrible. Like I was that person, right? And the other thing as well is that how open you are in listening to other people's opinions. Although you have done your part in learning and studying and all that, you still have that openness in you to actually really there to listen and understand. And that's what I appreciate, because even though sometimes you get too excited with the microphone button, but you do take your time to listen to everyone else, and that's actually the position that you always take, is that even though you can be considered as a subject matter expert, you still come and say, I want to listen to everyone else before I would say what my opinions and thoughts are. And that's something that not a lot of people understand, is that you need to listen first. And you actually, in order for you to listen, not just listen, but I'll also listen to understand, not just listen to respond, right? And those are two different things. And the thing with, like, for me, I shared this, I think, with Christian as well, that when I moved to Canada, and I was so turned off by the community. Like I started that Filipino Canadian Professional Network, but because all I received was pushback and not support, I was like, you know what? I don't need this. I'm okay. I'm progressing. I'm moving on with my life, not really needing the community. And it's more for me wanting to give back, but I'm not receiving that response. But then, so I completely shut it off. I completely like, you know what? Nope. To Christian's point, I even avoided. If I'm going to get invited to like a fiesta or something, I'm like, I'm not going to be part of that, because I felt that negative thing in me, that there's that toxic culture that I want to avoid. And there's that chismis, and there's like, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about Filipino celebrities. I'm not really into that. Like, that's not the kind of conversations that I'm into. I'm more interested in like in-depth conversations about the things that are not openly discussed in the community. That's the one that I'm more interested in, right?
For sure.
So it was, and then when I was talking to you and I said, I've been trying to like push this to the side, I don't want to be considered as that person to take on the lead. But then at the same time, I'm thinking, who else would do this? Because I'm put in that position, that unique position, where half of my life was spent in the Philippines and now half of my life here in Canada. So I had like a unique perspective of both worlds, understanding where I came from and also embracing where I'm at.
For sure.
And trying to like build those two worlds together. Like, who else is gonna do that if I don't do it, right? And then I was talking to him like, but I, that spark that we were talking about, and I'm trying to like reconnect again to that old spark in me that I had when I was a kid that was shut down and I completely shut off, and reopening it. And now understanding that with me being a mom and what kind of future do I want for my kids to grow up in terms of what their perception is of the community, right? So that's the whole.
Oh, that's
thing.
dope. That's dope. Thank you. But thank you all. I appreciate the flowers. Yeah, so thank you all for the flowers. I appreciate it. And that's why I love this room. I love this club, FilExcellence Club, Clubhouse app. Make sure y'all check it out. Thank you all for the flowers. Thank you for accepting me as family. So I just want to say, like, yo, I love y'all. That's real, you know what I mean? So I appreciate that. But I wanted to give everyone time to talk about what they do and promote in terms of the things that they want to promote. So Argentina, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, no. If anyone is interested in participating and being part of our club, FilExcellence Club on Clubhouse, definitely feel free to reach out. My Instagram handle is @GabeAnAngel. I'm most active there because that's my jam. Other than Clubhouse is Instagram, because I do like branded marketing strategies for entrepreneurs and teaching them how to succeed online using their own unique voices. So that's me.
Did you have any questions for me?
I'll think about it.
Okay.
Get back to you.
Gian, go ahead and promote. What do you do? Talk about yourself, and then question for me.
Sure. So I have a travel blog called carryonbabe.com. So that's just I work in the IT world in my regular job, but in my other life, I always work on my travel blog. So if you guys know anybody who loves to travel, interested in itineraries, carryonbabe.com. And then I just post on social media. So that's just kind of my baby right now. We'll see where it goes in the future. I'm secretly manifesting it here.
Let's go.
We don't know where it's going to go. But yeah, that's it really. Let's see. Question for you. What is your favorite Filipino food?
My favorite Filipino food. First and foremost, I want to say I appreciate your aesthetics on your IG. The colorway, it's like very fine tuned in a sense. I love it. The orange.
Thank you.
The orange.
I just started posting again.
But my favorite is kare kare. It's orange too.
Yes.
But yeah. How about you, Christian? Talk about yourself, promote, what do you do? And then question for me.
Yeah, so I work in the technology space, so particularly software engineering, product design, data science, and product management. I get to do it in the sports industry, which is super cool. Being able to do it in basketball, hockey, soccer, and football. And more importantly, this summer, which is our off season, we are going to be starting our very first internship for the Toronto Raptors and Toronto Maple Leafs, based out of Cebu in the Philippines. So you'll start seeing some of the content come out online, and whether you're a professional already, doing software development or data science or product design, or you're in an undergrad program at one of the universities, the whole goal is to create more job opportunities and job creation in the Philippines. So look out for that, and you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram @CMAGCC. And if you're in that space already, send me a DM and we'll get you the info earlier. And hoping to meet some more people online and give them opportunities back home.
That's
Christian,
dope.
Other than my courtside tickets, Christian, can I be the Toronto representative, and you can send me to Cebu under the Toronto Raptors flag, please? And thank you.
Put you on the spot like that.
Hey, question for you, Michael. What is your biggest Filipino influence? And it doesn't have to be a person, or it could be a moment, it could be a piece of art, it could be I don't know, music, anything. Just like what's your biggest influence? What would you say, or even just recently?
Okay. It was the
Feel free to
organization.
say me.
A what?
Feel free to say me.
Okay, okay.
Permission.
It was me. But no, it was Anak Bayan, Silicon Valley. When I came into the organization, again, I shared how many backward ideas I had. When I came into the space, they were the one, as a community, as an organization, challenged me. And when I was challenged, you know, okay, one of my first instance of learning of being like so hard, and it's a hard struggle, is understanding my male privilege, because I didn't know anything, or I did not understand that. So I'm already loud, right? And you project louder. I would cut women off when they're talking, and all these things. And so when I came into the organization, they were like, they checked me. They were like, no, you have to understand your male privilege. And at first, I got defensive. I was like, what are you talking about? This is just the way I am. But at the same time, it took me a moment to actually realize that I want to be part of the organization. I want to make changes. That means that I have to go through a transformative process and change, in a sense, and grow and develop. So that has been like the biggest influence in my life. So yeah, Anak Bayan. Shout out to Anak Bayan, Silicon Valley. Rah! Thank you, Christian. All right, who's next? Francis, question for me, and talk about yourself.
Oh yeah. So yeah, again, I am an actor, primarily musical theater trained.
Okay.
But but I am also a full-time creative director on a startup production company that primarily works on Amazon's newest platform called Amazon Live. So that platform marries live streaming and e-commerce, since it's Amazon. So if you guys are like familiar about QVC and Home Shopping Network, that is about the same realm format that we do, because everyone is doing everything else anyway, since it's live streaming, and that's the beauty of it. So yeah, I also am a creative director, and sometimes occasionally one of the hosts here on that channel, Top Rated Club. We're the pioneering full end-to-end production company that has ever got into the platform, and that is still by invite only as well, under iOS. So it's an interesting turn and how everything, because I got into the company because it was in the height of the pandemic, even height of the Black Lives Matter movement. And that's what I'm going to say, that I think that's my silver lining on how shitty 2020 is. That was my silver lining, that I was able to still be on the job, because as an actor, I'm always the one auditioning, I'm the one in front. But because of my privilege right now as a creative director, I was able to sit on the other side of the table, wherein I'm now leading this startup production company and this handling these talents, doing these auditions, curating these shows, writing the scripts. Basically, I'm like Shonda Rhimes in here. I'm the showrunner. So that's what I do. And at the same time, I'm juggling being an actor. And it's an interesting turn, wherein I was able to create a way for also allow actors to do something new in the space of entertainment, since especially theater is shut down. And I've been pulling some people in as well. The productions are shut down. It's very, very small. So this became a lot of our talents that has come in and out of this company, used it as a stepping stone to still do something creative and to still be somehow be part of the industry in a new media, new platform, new world, because nobody has really tackled the world of live streaming until the pandemic started. Before, live streaming was just for gamers, but even I personally am started live streaming on a different platform as for Live It. So that's a whole new thing right now, and that's what I do. Somehow on Clubhouse, I ended up also starting. I'm actually getting into teaching right now, because a number of uh, I've been receiving number of people from the Philippines message. Hey, how did you move to America? I want to do musical theater as well. What was your path? And I somehow coached like Kay on her audition monologue for the New York Conservatory of Dramatic Art. So we're waiting for that decision, and she's actually about to have her audition for the school that I went to. So somehow mentoring's becoming seeping in on my
Okay.
end, which is interesting enough because
New
I never had a
opportunity.
mentor. It's an opportunity because I never had a mentor. When I moved here, it's all me. I'm the only Filipino in the room. There may be Filipino Americans, but the Filipino immigrant story on the modern context is what I also want to try to put forward.
Mm.
And yeah, I'm also pitching a play that I wrote is now being translated into a film,
Mm.
which is a story. It's like a semi-autobiographical story of mine because apart from it's an immigrant story, nobody also. I have never seen any material that tackles HIV and AIDS in this modern time,
Mm.
which is especially on the layer of being an immigrant, knowing that height of the pandemic and everything else. So it was my life story that's never been put out before, that not a lot of people knew about my HIV AIDS story.
Mm.
I'm a survivor. I'm already undetectable, thank God. But these layers and these things has been only touching the surface, and I want to dive into it. And I'm actually in the middle of a collaboration to have something to be filmed this summer about Manila Town here in
Okay.
the US.
That's dope.
So I'm not allowed to say anything else yet. That's only the
Okay,
only
okay.
thing
Don't
I'm gonna
say no more.
say.
Say no more.
Yeah, but yeah, my question to you though, Michael, is because you're also doing you're now versed about buying and there's apart from people don't know there's not the one of the oldest that's the most prominent oldest handwriting in the Philippines.
Mm.
I want to. Will you be? Will Are you planning to also dive into learning different styles of handwriting apart from baybayin in the
Oh,
Philippines?
yes. I think I shared with the group in terms of the different writing system. They're all related, but I also write kulitan, which is the Kapampangan version. So I can write Kapampangan words in the kulitan script. And so, yeah, it's just because they're all related and because our language is syllabic. If you know Tagalog, it's so easy to learn. That's it. You just remove the vowels a e I, o, right? So, but yeah, I'm down to have a workshop with y'all if folks are willing or interested to learn more by Bayin. And so yeah, that's dope, man. We're rooting for you, bruh. And let me highlight, you're not alone. We're out here. So
Thank you. Yeah, if it weren't for Clubhouse, I wouldn't have met people in the industry as well. Like
mm,
I know there are a number of Filipinos and Filipino Americans primarily, but I've never met a modern day Filipino immigrant in the business,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
as an actor. That's one of the things that I was literally looking for mentorship. But I'm even surprised that we have like Emmy award winning producers. I was like, producer Emmy, or like Augie Vargas, who's done the Super Bowl, who's done the Emmys, who's done the Oscars. He produced that one. And we got Ben Bolata, who's a 5-time Emmy nominated editor. And we
Okay.
got I would never, if it weren't for Clubhouse, I wouldn't even realize we got
Mm,
Filipino agents, Filipino managers. We have Filipino writers and Filipino producers, and J. Elaine Marcos was an alumni in AMDA, but
mm.
he's Canadian. She's originally Canadian, but she's Filipino, and she's the only person that I have met who have got 10 Broadway credits under her belt.
Let's go. Snap that. But
So, if it weren't for Clubhouse, the people, whatever industry you are, whatever walks of life you are, it allowed everyone to actually be close and have a common ground.
mm,
Especially, look at us. We're in different parts of the world right now. Majority of us are in the States, Argentina and Christian are in Canada. But if it weren't for Clubhouse, we wouldn't be having this certain bond, right?
right? First and foremost, I want to thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your story. And so that's what I'm saying. That this clubhouse, this family, we don't even know each other, but we are like learning and bonding and sharing the most vulnerable story, stories of part of ourselves. So thank you for sharing that. I just want to highlight that. So all right, Mike, what you got? What you got? Talk about what you do. What's your socials? And question for me.
Absolutely. So I'm Mike. So I'm based in North Carolina. I am a writer. I have a book coming out later this year. It's a memoir about
Okay.
my life as a gay Filipino immigrant in America. So so I'm really excited about that. And I also have a podcast. So it's really related to the themes of my memoir as well. So I talk about a lot of sexual identity, racial identity, and really just connecting with our community. So amplifying voices, supporting other podcasters out there like yourself. So we need to amplify our voices and really uplift each other. So
For sure.
question for you is really more on the Ugat clothing.
Okay.
So how did it come about?
It came about in 2009. Pacquiao was on TV. America's Best Dance Crew was on MTV. Sharice Pepenko was on Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of Filipino in the media, and there was this demand for Filipino pride. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna take advantage of that. I'm gonna make that money real quick. And so I made a 73-star shirt with a wing on it, with an eagle wing. That was the only one, and I put it out there. And people were like, yo, that's dope. Let me get some. I'm like, oh shoot, I can make money out of this. But then from that point, I was like, oh, I don't know anything about Filipino history, culture, or anything because I grew up here. And so it led me to actually like research, from the Katipunan, and then the Katipunan learning about colonialism, and then colonialism expanding to imperialism, and then imperialism to like understanding the whole world. So that was the journey and learning and developing and growing, and then of course being part of the different organizations. And so that was the beginning. So Ugat is funny because I was chasing the paper, right? Like I was chasing that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but when I got to the pot of gold, there was no gold. What I got out of that was like learning about myself, which is the most valuable motherfucking thing ever. You know what I mean? And so yeah, that's how I got started.
One quick follow-up. Did you ever have Filipino friends or family members who ask you, hey, can you give me a free t-shirt?
Actually, I'm the type that you don't even have to ask me because I'm the artist that give away my shit. And so I need to learn how to like, yo, you got to make money too and you got to survive. Because like when we go to a lot of festivals and people come to the booth, Blazi, blah, da, da, da. And I'm like, oh, you want an extra? You want a discount? Like they're not even asking for it. But yeah, I'm just that generous like that for sure. Okay, Monica, the last one. Let's go. Talk about yourself, the work you do, the socials, and yeah, question for me.
Oh man, I love talking about myself. I recently, during the pandemic, realized I wasn't doing what I really wanted to be doing. So I got my personal training certification. Prior to that, I studied biomechanical engineering, burnt myself out working as a product development engineer. And like, I just was going crazy, and movement really helped me with my mental health. So during the pandemic, got certified, and recognized a need for accessibility within the deaf and hard of hearing communities within the fitness space. So that's kind of my future goal right now. I'm also working on my adaptive and inclusive training certification, but if anyone is looking for a personal trainer, I got you.
Okay.
I'm ASAP Mani on TikTok, Instagram, everywhere else. But my question for you is, if you had advice to give to your 24-year-old self, what would it be?
Uh, don't be too hard on yourself, and just move forward. And as you move forward, you will learn, you will grow, and just continue pushing. And so, yeah, and I think that's my thing for everyone, right? Especially you, right? Monica's a badass, by the way, and so again, like we have to affirm each other, and so
Monica is a TikTok superstar, you guys.
there you
If you
go.
haven't checked her out on TikTok, she is a TikTok superstar.
Yes.
I say that.
Okay, since she doesn't know how to talk about herself, anyone else want to say something to Monica? Let's affirm her right now. This is an affirmation. Is it Sunday or Saturday? Affirmation Saturday. Let's
Monica, I
go.
love your peach.
Oh, see, there you go. Okay, Gian, affirmation Saturday today.
Monica, you're such a badass. You're beautiful Filipino woman.
Oh.
You're gonna take over the world. It's
Okay.
time for world domination, and we're all behind you.
Okay, Christian, let's go. Let's go. We're gonna do this.
Oh, I just honestly, I love your style. Like, just the way you carry yourself, like the confidence that you have on the social platforms. It's you would never think. Like, I'm actually shocked the way you're describing yourself like that right now, because it just that would never cross my mind. I'm gonna send you a DM after this, sending you like some more flowers. Just like amazing. I love your
Okay.
style. Keep doing it. Keep pushing.
Francis, let's go.
What the hell are you saying to yourself? I mean, girl. What else should I say?
Just say it.
I mean, you took biomechanics. I came from the same the same path we're in. The thing that I really wanted to do, I started realizing making that happen as 24 years old. We're about the same age. I'm guessing you're younger than me. I'm guessing, but it's not too
24.
late.
She's 24.
Oh, see, you're younger than me. I'm turning 27 this year. You're younger than me. If you've accomplished a lot compared to a lot of 24-year-olds out there. And I'm telling you this right now. I discovered the thing that I really wanted to do when I was 24. I started realizing that happen. It's not yet too late, honey. This is just the beginning, and you are going to thrive, and you are going to do a lot more damn good shit compared to what you're thinking right now.
Okay, Mike, let's go. Give it to her.
Yeah, Monica, you've got this. You've got this, girl. And, yeah, there's just so much positive, vibe that you're emitting. And, I just want to be like you. So, you've got this. You've got this. You've got us as well. So we're here.
Okay, Monica, any response?
I have like tears in my eyes.
Hey, we made her cry. Let's go.
That's the goal to make Monica cry.
Hey.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
You guys.
I
So,
love it.
response. You have any
No,
response?
and the thing is too, Monica is one of the most loyal person I've ever met on Clubhouse. If you don't know this. So I would ask her something like, hey, I need you to do me a favor. And her response would always be, yes, I don't know what it is, but yes already. You know what I mean? So it's always that, like, I don't know what that means, but I'm a yes. So, it's very rare that you're going to see people that are so altruistic and, they think outside of themselves. And sometimes it's pushing too much on the opposite spectrum that you just want to like, okay, think about you now. Like, like, let's focus on you. And she gets so uncomfortable when it's about her.
All right, Monica, respond.
I would pop in her room and I would have an Avi, who's like president of the Monica fan club.
Let's go. Okay, let's get a response from Monica.
A response?
Yeah, how you feeling now?
I feel good.
Okay.
I feel very grateful right now. I feel like not a lot of people have this or know what it's like to have such a supportive community behind them. And so I don't know. I wish everybody could feel this way all the time.
That's dope. I think this is a great example of the FilExcellence Club and the community that I found in that app. And this is a great example, and I really wanted to showcase. And this is an example, right? We give each other flowers. We
I
affirm
have a
each other.
question for you now.
Okay. Question. Go ahead.
I have two actually.
Let's go.
So the first question is, what would it take for you to settle down in the Philippines?
Mm.
And then the other question that I have is cancel culture. How do you tolerate people when you know that they're just full of nonsense, but at the same time you still want to create space for them?
Okay.
Is it even worth it creating space for them? You know what I mean? Like, how do you reach across the aisle when the other aisle you feel is not worth reaching out?
Okay.
I don't know if that makes any sense, because that's something that I sometimes struggle with.
Gotcha. Okay, first question. What would it take for me to settle in the Philippines? I do this work. I'm a community organizer. I'm pushing for change back home, right? And to change the very condition, the corruption, the poverty, the very condition that pushes us to migrate. And so in terms of the question, I have 3 kids. I have 18, 14, and 10. And my plan is, when my youngest turned 18, I wanted to be able to sit down with my kids and say, this is what I would like to do. But I want you all to take part in that decision, because it's not just my decision for myself. Because I am a father, I want you all, as my children, as individuals, to take part in that decision. And so that's how I would approach it. So if the kids are saying, go for it, Daddy, we're happy for you, I'm on it. But if my kids are like, well, we're not ready for it yet, we still need support, or we still need things, I would respect the process in terms of what the collective decision is. So that's what I do, and that's what I practice with my family and my children. I allow them to take part in the decision that I make. And so, yeah. And so, second question, in terms of reaching out across the aisle, you have to gauge the person if they are willing to meet you halfway. If they're not willing to meet you halfway, there's so many more other people that you can connect with that's closest to you. And so again, back to the point of you got to pick your battle. And in regards to being able to reach someone, you have to approach it in the most efficient way. And so if the people that are closest to you is where you can start. And yeah, so that's how I would answer that question. Yeah. So this is the podcast. This is Blazi Blah. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you like, subscribe, Blazi Blah, So yeah, and this is my family, FilExcellence Club. Let's go!
Blazi Blah!
Hey!
Even the dog is the same. Rap, rap, rap.